Hey, what's up? This is The Peak. Today I'll start to scale the megalith of Monkey D Luffy. Luffy's surprisingly strong from day one. Throughout his journey, he takes out the strongest opponents in the East Blue without going all out. It's not until he meets Crocodile that we get a good read on his power. Strength. There are two types of ways to scale strength: attack potency and destruction potency. Attack potency correlates with the destruction potency. Destruction potency is the area of effect from damage. In Orange Town, the Buggy Ball has the destruction potency of a village. This may be hearsay, but Nami, a member of the Straw Hat crew, has heard of the destruction that it has done, along with panels I've seen, have led me to believe this is very plausible. Buggy was seen tanking 3 Buggy Ball and barely taking any damage, which means Buggy has to have a durability that is much greater than a village. During this arc, Luffy kicked Buggy 3 times. The first was to the gut, the second was a light tap to the groin, and finally the third was a kick to the face, which caused him to lose a tooth. The evidence being that Buggy tanked a Buggy Ball, which did almost nothing to him, yet felt pain during at least 3 altercations with Luffy. This leads to my point that Luffy has had to have kicked Buggy harder than the destruction potency of a Buggy Ball, a strong feat that puts Luffy's attack potency at least town level, maybe city block level. The next strength category would be destruction potency. So Luffy destroys Arlong Park by using a battle axe. Thanks to a blog I found on WordPress written by Irene Bellorian 69, I was able to figure out how powerful the move was. Irene calculated that the amount of force needed to destroy Arlong Park was 16.492 tons of TNT, and that puts Luffy at city block level for destruction potency. Stamina. Luffy doesn't have any stamina feats. All those altercations ended very quickly before Luffy could show, if any. Durability. Durability has 2 types, mental and physical. Luffy has a lot of mental durability. As a child, he was beaten and trained by his grandfather, forced to survive in a jungle. He's been cut by Buggy, Kuro, Krieg, and Arlong. He's had Django's chakram stuck to the back of his head. He's been pierced by Don Krieg's spike bullets. He's been bitten by Arlong on the neck. The worst mental damage was probably when he was beaten for multiple hours by Porchemi with no end as a child. With physical durability, there are actually 2 ways to separate them: intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic is how the body responds to an attack that hits it, which was not defending using any special move. Extrinsic is how the body responds to an attack that actually hits it when it's defended by a specific external measure. This one will be ignored for now. Luffy's body is completely immune to blunt physical damage unless it can somehow do internal damage. He is also immune to lightning-based attacks. The Devil Fruit changes his body, allowing him to gain these immunities. What it doesn't do is give him protection from blades. Luffy can be cut by them, but it doesn't mean he takes more damage from them than a regular person. This is because he can still break blades with his hands and teeth without Broken Shark cutting him. This leads me to believe that his body is still thicker, meaning it's more difficult to cut through his body than a regular person. This idea is headcanon though. Also, another thing that has been proven by Kuro is that you can get hit by a normal person and take little to no damage, which means a regular human probably can't cut into Luffy or would just barely tear into him, if I use the previous thing as a fact. Regeneration. Luffy doesn't have any regeneration, but if he eats, his stamina gets restored instantly. He also does heal from serious wounds in a couple of hours to days. Speed. There are 5 ways to measure speed: combat attack, continuous movement speed, reaction speed, teleportation, and travel time. Luffy doesn't have teleportation, so this has to be ignored. Travel time also has to be ignored because I couldn't find anything. Continuous movement speed is the speed that a person can maintain while actively fighting without break. Luffy only showcases his insane speed throughout the East Blue twice. In the first arc of the series, Luffy flings himself to protect Zoro and Kobe from bullets. DCDoesPhysics estimated that the speed Luffy's traveled was Mach 3.5, which means Luffy's starting speed is at Supersonic Plus. This means that when Luffy fought Kuro, who is very fast, at a very minimum Mach 3.5, which might sound very weird if you hear about an SPS that says Kuro runs at 56 miles per hour, but people ignore the words "I think." The words "I think" mean unsure, so because of this, I can't take this statement as a fact. We also see that Luffy can't react to Kuro. That means that he's moving faster than the eye can see. 550 miles per hour is the minimum speed of what is considered faster than the eye can see. This means that he has to be traveling faster than Mach 3.5. I would say it's a safe bet to say it's Mach 4, because it took Luffy not too long to compete with Kuro's speed. Luffy getting accustomed to the speed led to Kuro to go even faster. Now, I don't know how many times faster he got, but let's say he got half as fast as a safe estimate. That places Kuro at a minimum of Mach 6, which would be hypersonic speed. Very impressive. He would just be a bit faster than the speed of hypersonic missiles. This is a very impressive feat, but it only takes single moments before Luffy surpasses Kuro's new speed. Finally, Kuro uses the pussyfoot maneuver at a speed so fast that even Luffy can't respond. This is a Luffy who could fight Kuro at hypersonic speed. This new technique is so fast to the point that Luffy has to let himself get cut just to grab a hold of Kuro. I could double the speed, but it feels if it was double, Luffy could still react like he did previously. That means that it has to be a minimum of 3 times his previous speed. That means Kuro is at minimum Mach 18, which places Kuro at hypersonic plus. Even though Luffy did defeat Kuro by catching him off guard, he was unable to fight Kuro constantly, which has me putting Luffy's combat attack speed at hypersonic. His reaction speed is also hypersonic. Maybe you could say it needs to be hypersonic to react and grab a hold, but I'm not 100% on that yet. Continuous combat movement speed would also be hypersonic because he was able to maintain that speed for multiple altercations. Overall, great speed feats. Some might even be faster. So now the results: attack potency, city block level, destruction potency, city block level, stamina, unknown, durability, mental, high tolerance, durability, intrinsic, city block level, extrinsic, none, regeneration, none, speed, combat attack, hypersonic, continuous movement speed, hypersonic, reaction speed, hypersonic, transportation, none, travel time, unknown.